So good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for coming and joining, those in person and those online. So again, I would like to start with quieting the mind. And again, try to relax your body and mind. Let go any stiffness in your body. Just relax as much as you can. And feel the weight of your body on cushion, on chair. And watch your breath as you inhale and exhale naturally. Once your mind is settled down and in moment present, then we can try to reflect and contemplate as long as our mind is disturbed by one of those negative disturbing emotions, such as strong jealousy, anger, strong desire, so forth. No matter what the external conditions are, The weather might be perfect, the food might be perfect, you might be surrounded by the friend families, good job, whatever all these conditions, good health, even though you enjoy all the best external conditions. But when we are disturbed by one of those emotions, in that moment, at that time, there is no peace and happiness in our mind. Those external conditions are unable to give you the joy and happiness that normally it might bring a little bit in that moment. And this is our experience. This is our everyday experience. On the other hand, external condition might not be the best, you know. But if your mind is calm, peaceful, with contentment, tolerance, mind, patience mind, filled with loving kindness, compassion, even in such moment when the external conditions are not the best, we can still find level of joy, peace, and happiness in our life. Therefore, it is quite clear whether we are happy or not, whether we have miserable moment, miserable life, or whether we have joyful moment and joyful, happy life. It depends more on our state of mind than external conditions. That being the case, you know, we should pay more attention to our mind, trying to reduce and destroy those disturbing negative emotions, trying to cultivate and increase and improve those positive state of minds. Not only for our own inner peace, joy, happiness, but also that we harm and hurt others less, and not only we hurt and harm others less, also we are able to help and be benefit to others more and more with such state of mind. And to reduce and destroy those disturbing negative emotions and improve those constructive positive emotions or state of mind, we must reflect, contemplate, meditate, and practice continuously, correctly. Therefore, we have to be reminded of those practice all the time. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the talk. And not only listen to it, whatever I find helpful, beneficial, that I'm going to integrate as much as possible in my everyday life. May my act of coming here with the intention, good intentions, listening, reflecting, contemplating, and engaging discussions. May all of this become cause and conditions to obtain our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So not only we can be help and benefit, but greatest help and benefit, and not only for few, but for each and every sentient beings. Okay.
Refuge and Bodhisattva. One time in Tibetan and two times in English. Sankhe chodang solti chonam la chang chu bardu dakni gyab so che dakti chunen ki pe sonam ki drola penche sangye rupa shu. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Short mandala offering. Om Sahaji Pergi Chushing Meto Trang Re Rab Ling Chi Ni De Gen Badi Sangye Jing Du Mi Te Buwai Dokun Namam Da Ching La Chöparsho Jetun Lama Dhampa Kenam Chi Kui Kala Ken Se truth-centric, Cheda-sampe, du-che-zen mala, Sa-ke-che-ke-sha-pa, Wab-tu-so, Idam Guru Radha Mandala Kamnayatayami.
So, yesterday we talked a little bit about the refuge, visualization of the refuge, and we also started to talk about the 7 limbs of 7 branches of practice. And within that, we kind of discuss about how those practice are actually a mind training when it is done properly with the right understanding and correctly, and how each of those practice act as an antidote towards those different negative emotions. And so yesterday we talked about paying homage, vowing or prostrating as being the antidote for the arrogant or delusional pride. We talk about the offerings, the second practice, the offering being the antidote toward stingy or miserliness mind, greediness. We talk about the confessions, third one as being an antidote towards all the afflictive emotions. And so fourth one is the practice of rejoicing in others' virtues, in our own virtues. So that's the rejoicing. And rejoicing is, being happy, rejoicing, being joyful and happy when you reflect on your own virtues. And same, when you see someone's virtues, we try to be joyful about that, rejoicing in their virtues, rejoicing in their success, rejoicing in their happiness, rejoicing in their well-beings. And that acts as an antidote towards the negative emotions of jealousy. Jealousy is when you see someone's success, happiness, and virtues, that you are not so happy about it, Whereas the rejoicing, the opposite of that. And so they, so it is antidote towards that. Yeah, in terms of antidote. Okay, maybe others, maybe I can discuss later. And then there's the fourth. Fifth one is requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma. In other words, requesting to teach the Dharma to the teachers, to the Buddhas. And that is antidote towards, any negative thoughts that we have towards the Dharma. If you have bad negative feelings, negative thought, bad feeling about the Dharma, then of course you wouldn't request to turn the wheel of the Dharma. But when we request to turn the wheel of Dharma, then it is an expression of appreciations of that knowledge, that wisdom, that Dharma, that you want to learn, you want to hear, you want to learn, you want to study, And so then that act as antidote towards any kind of negative feelings or negative thoughts towards the Dharma. And then six, is requesting yeah, requesting for the Buddha, the gurus, to remain, until the samsara ends, until each and every sentient being is kind of liberated, basically, requesting for to stay long, again, that acts as antidote towards the negative thoughts of negative thought that we have towards the Buddha and the gurus, If you have bad feelings, negative thoughts, and if you don't appreciate, instead you have bad feeling, negative thoughts, then you wouldn't wish that person to have long life. You wouldn't ask that person to have long life in that being. So again, when we request, someone from your heart, bottom of your heart, when you wish and when request them to have long life, to live as long as until the samsara ends, then there is a sense of, appreciation, joyful or grateful appreciation for that beings and the beings sharing the knowledge and wisdom and experience, So that acts as an antidote towards these negative thoughts, feeling that we have towards the guru and other holy enlightened beings. And seventh is the dedicating. Lama Tsongkhapa explained, to the supreme dedication and the dedication for the well-being and happiness of all sentient beings. Dedicating for the Dharma to last forever, because the Dharma is the source of all the happiness. And then dedicating for longevity of the gurus who teach us those dharmas. Those. So again, of course, it's not limited to those three dedications. You can dedicate in so many different ways, and these are just few examples of how it can be dedicated in a broader way. Trying to dedicate for bigger purpose, higher purpose, instead of just praying and dedicating for just our own well-being, ourselves, but we try to make it much more bigger, higher, by dedicating for not only ourselves, for the well-being of all sentient beings, And when you dedicate and pray for the well-being of all sentient beings, you don't have to worry, you are included there. Okay? You are one of the sentient beings, and you have dedicated for all sentient beings, you have prayed for all sentient beings, so you don't have to worry that you are missing. You are included, in that prayer, in that dedications. So yeah, those are the seven practice of seven limbs or branches. And again, as I mentioned, is training your mind, is part of training your mind, because each of those practices act as an antidote towards different negative emotions. Or the last one I forgot to say. And in terms of antidote, that dedication is, it is kind of indirectly antidote towards the anger. Our anger can destroy virtues and merit, a moment of anger can destroy a lot of virtues and merit that we have created with a lot of hardship, a lot of hard work. When you dedicate in such with a higher purpose in that better way, then you kind of protect those virtues merited from being destroyed by the anger. You put them in kind of safety. That anger cannot destroy all these virtues, all this merit completely. And so, okay, so that is in terms of related with that. So then I'm going to kind of go through the verses that you find at the very beginning of King of the prayers of those 7 limb practice. So it's in page number 249. If you want to have that, text. If you want to check on that. Here, one here. Yeah, so it's in 249, where it's a King of Prayer. So, yeah. So it starts with the homage, the title of the prayer, extraordinary inspiration or practice of Samanbhadra, the Bodhisattva Samanbhadra. There are great 8 Bodhisattvas, and one of them is Samanbhadra, and Samanbhadra known for his intense or intensive inspirations. And so Samanbhadracharya Pranidhana Raja Papa Sampochobe Molom Gigya Boss. So then it starts with the homage to Arya Manjushri, the Bodhisattvas, the Bodhisattvas compassion, wisdom. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri. So then next start with the prostrations. In terms of prostrations, then there are 3 prostrations: bodily prostrations, verbally prostration, mentally prostrations. So we can prostrate or pay homage physically, verbally, mentally, all of them. And so that is the first is kind of prostrating or paying homage with all body, speech, and mind. So here, you lines among humans. So here is saying to the Buddhas, the Buddhas, and all the Buddhas are like the lines, fearless, among humans and all other beings, gone to the freedom in the present, past, futures, in the world of 10 directions. So the Buddhas, who have gone to the freedom in the bliss, who have eliminated all the obscurations, and who have actualized all the positive inner qualities, the one gone to the bliss, one gone to the freedoms, And so here is, and making prostrations or paying homage to not only just one Buddha, but Buddha of past, present, futures, in terms of time, in terms of direction, not only prostrating to one Buddha of one particular direction, but of all 10 directions. So that's where, to all of 10 directions. To all of you, with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down. I prostrate or bow down. So it's prostrating with body, speech, and mind. To all the Buddhas of 10 directions of past, present, futures. So, of course, if we pay homage, bow down, prostrate, even for one such holy beings, you purify a lot of negative karma. You accumulate a lot of merit. And when you pay homage, bow down, and prostrate to all the Buddhas of all 10 directions, of all 3 times, the numbers of the power of purification become multiplied by that much numbers. Accumulating merit multiplied by that kind of number, then it becomes numberless. With same, yeah. It is if we are practicing charity, if you kind of serve a meal for one person or one animal, you create that merit, that virtues, that positive karma energies. But if you offer that for 10 people, then you create more merit, more virtues. If you do that for 100, then it multiplies, it's big, thousands. And same when we do frustrations, we try to think that we are forced. We imagine, visualize all the Buddhas of 10 directions or 3 times are all here, and I'm frustrating all of them. Not just one Buddha, but all those Buddhas. And then your one practice of prostrations or bowing down or homage become numberless of that. Again, in Buddhism, we see so much is on mind, your state of mind. And so when you are able to think and visualize broader, then even the physical act is just one, but you create that much of merit and that much of purification. Bodily bowing down or prostrating is, like, as there are full prostrations, half prostrations, touching the 5, your forehead and your 2 knee and your 2 hand to the ground. That is when you bow down. That is the half prostration, and then when you fully stretch it, you fully stretch it, then that become full prostrations. And then of course, in prostration, you fold your hand. Normally, you put your thumbs inside, and there is kind of hollow inside. It represents the Dharmakaya, the hollow, the emptiness. Empty represent the Dharmakaya, and then the hand together represent the Rupakaya, the 2 Buddhas. Also, it represents the shape of the jewel, and it's like making a jewel. So there is a different, like in normal southern traditions, like India, Nepal, many, there's a greeting when there's a namaste. Namaste is kind of flight like this, the whole. And in prostration, it's not flight, but you kind of that, and with that, um, you can put your forehead, by your throat, your heart. And again, is, bowing down to your body, speech, and mind. This represent body. This represent where your throat, speech, where it come from. When you have here by the chest is where the heart is. It represents the mind. So you are kind of bowing down body, speech, and mind. And then, you are bowing, you're touching your forehead, your head to the feet of the Buddha, in that feet of the Buddhas. So yeah, so that is physical prostrations. Verbal prostrations is, then you try to recite qualities of the beings, you can call praise, reciting or reciting or of the incredible positive qualities. And so that, and then mental prostrations, you cultivate a strong devotion, faith, and with that strong faith and devotions, by recollecting the incredible positive qualities. So then that is prostration through body, speech, and mind. Okay. Again, normally when you think prostration, we might just think it's just physical, but it's it can be, and even in prostration, full prostrations, better if you can do that. If not, you can do half prostration, that which I did before the teachings. Sometime when you cannot do, you can just keep your two hand fold and bow down. That is also prostration while you are sitting, And sometime maybe you are too busy with your two hand, then with one hand, that is prostrations. So again, depending on your conditions, you are in condition to the full prostration, it's great, If not, then half prostrations. If not, folding your hand and bowing down. That gestures, And even when you are busy with two hands, even with one hand, this is, so this is physical prostration, yeah. So that is through body, speech, and now he go through prostration individually with each verse for the body, speech, and mind. And next one, with the energy of inspiration for the Buddha way. So that is with, with the energy or with the motivations of bodhicitta mind to achieve fully enlightenment and to engage in the bodhisattva's inspiration and practice with that kind of, motivations, and with a sense of deep respect and faith, to all the Buddhas, with as many as bodies as atom of the world, to all Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. So again, you imagine, you visualize all the Buddhas of 10 directions of 3 times are there. If you can visualize clearly, it's good. But even if you cannot visualize clearly each of Buddhas, you just have to feel they are present of that. They are really here. They are really present here. That is important. And if we can really feel they are present, they are always there. The Buddha is not limited by our body. They don't like gross body. Buddha's mind is everywhere. And wherever Buddha's mind is, the Buddha is everywhere. And so if you can feel it, they're always there. So then you just, of course, visualization, some people can visualize better, some not so, But main thing is really feel the present of them. They are real here. It's not just I'm just imagining. They are not here, but I'm just imagining. Do you get it? Instead that you really feel whether, even though I cannot visualize, imagine clearly, but they are real here, they are real present here. You feel that, and then even when you do frustration, try to visualize, as he mentioned here to all these Buddhas, as number of yourself as atoms. So, so you can feel the whole space as equal as the atoms that there is. That much of number of yourself, visualizing yourself. And then all of them doing frustrations. So then again, you purify and accumulate merits as numberless of visualization of yourself doing even though physically you are just one body, but you imagine that, and then by doing all that, you create that much of merit and purifications. So again, all in, more in mental is a game of mental. If you say game, even though it's not right word, but it's more in our mental, how powerful, how strong that practice become. More than physical is our mental state. What kind of motivations, what kind of how broad you can think, and in here, you think numberless of yourself visualizing in that way. Mm. And that is, you know, mm, and then next one, on every atoms are the Buddhas, numberless as atom. Each emits host of bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the spirit of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddha in this way. So again, in this, you visualize there's numberless atoms. In each of numberless atom, you visualize numberless of Buddha in that. So there is already numberless atom and equal of that Buddha in numberless. Then you visualize with each of those numberless atoms, you visualize the whole numberless Buddha in each of them. So again, it becomes much more powerful, not only as equal as each atom, but within each atom, there's the whole universe. So whole universe in one atom, in a way of looking. So all Buddhas of 10 direction and 30 times are all in one atoms, each of those atoms. So visualizing. Again, as I mentioned, also it's not just we are imagining, but in reality, also each of those numberless atoms, there is all the Buddhas in that. Again, Buddha's mind is not limited in anywhere, and if their mind is not limited, and they are not limited to be there. And so again, normally we are not aware of that. We don't think, but And all the Buddhas, numberless Buddhas in each of those atoms, and each of Buddhas surrounded by numberless bodhisattvas, their host, you know. You imagine that, you visualize that, the whole, each of atom filled with that, you know. And then, mm, like as previously, with strong by recollecting, remembering the limitless positive qualities and wisdom, you know, remembering, recollecting, and through that cultivating a strong faith, respect, you know, and by also seeing, that the object of your frustrations, all the limitless Buddha and yourself who is prostrating, and the act of prostrating itself, all of them empty of inherent existence, by seeing everything's, you know, the Buddha to whom I am prostrating, they are empty of inherent existence. I who is prostrating is empty of inherent existence. My act of prostrating is also empty of inherent existence, And so then what recollecting or bringing your wisdom, understanding emptiness in that practice, and through that you prostrate, then again the practice becomes much more powerful. Purifications, you know. So then while you are prostrating, you try to bring both the bodhicitta and wisdom realizing emptiness into with the bodhicitta motivations, intentions, and while you are practicing by seeing the object of prostration, the person who is prostrating, and the act of prostrating, they all are empty of inherent existence. So there is nothing, even though you are engaged in something virtuous, but there is nothing to cling on, grasp on, to get attached on by seeing the emptiness. Because sometimes when you don't see the emptiness, then we think this is something very good, positive, and then we can get attached to that, clinging to that. Oh, this Buddha is very high and very enlightened beings. Again, you can be attached to that, clinging to that. Oh, I'm doing the prostration. Oh, I'm great practitioner. Oh, you can get attached to yourself. So all of that, there is always something what you are doing is good, but at the same time, it can lead to clinging, grasping, attachment, sense of superiority or everything. And so again, when we have that, then again, it kind of minimize the practice to some level, and so to make it more powerful in that way. So, frustrating from your heart in that way. With the infinite ocean of praise for you, an ocean of sound from aspect of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddha and celebrate all of you gone to bliss. And this is praising through the speech, you know. So by recite, recollecting, remembering, and then reciting, infinite oceans means numberless. Praise for you, the Buddhas, and the host of bodhisattvas. An ocean of sound from aspect of my voice. In some commentary, they say that you visualize with many head, and with each head many tongues, and with each of those tongues simultaneously so many different. Instead, one person reciting the praise, like thousand of them reciting. But even in that, maybe if you feel uncomfortable, you know, thinking of many heads, and with each head, so many tongue, the voice here is the kind of source of the voice, which is the tongue where it come from, with so many tongues, and that even though that is kind of described in some commentary. But again, just like previous imagination, you visualize yourself as numberless as the atoms, and each of them singing that praise, recollecting and singing the praise of the Buddha's qualities, and thereby celebrating in that way, singing praise with a great melody sounds, beautiful chanting melody sound. You can think, imagine, and with that beautiful chanting melody sounds, of as equal as numberless atoms of yourself, and then doing that. I think the breathtaking, excellent, all the incredible qualities of, unconditional love, unlimited loving kindness, compassion, um, the wisdom, of seeing both realities simultaneously, you know, knowing each and every sentient being's state of mind, predispositions, exactly as is, having all the skillful means, so all different Buddha's incredible qualities that you have studied, that you can recollect, remember, through remembering, and then, singing those breathtaking, excellent Buddha, and celebrate all of you born to the bliss. So that is prostrating um, through the speech. Mm. So next is the offerings. Offerings, you try to arrange offering whatever possible yourself, and then you visualize. So again, you know, if you can set up and make actual offering, is wonderful, is great. But even when you are unable to do it, you can always imagine and visualize the whole space filled with all these different offerings and making those offerings. You know, um, if possible, then you can set up such as the water bowls, 7 water bowls that symbolize 7 different offerings. You can light a light, you know, um, you can offer incense, you know, um, you can have some food or something, fruit, whatever. So whatever offering that you, flowers, whatever offering you can set, you can try to arrange, make offerings. Um, but whether you are able to arrange or not, but you can imagine and visualize and then offer. So different offerings of some here, beautiful flowers, regal garlands. So with the flowers, there are different flowers. What do you call, petals of flowers, bunches of flowers, garlands of flowers. All different form of flower that you see. Making all those different flowers. The celestial and human flowers with all different shape, color, um, you know, um, sizes, and perfumes, scented flowers, Especially you can visualize the flower that you yourself enjoy, and making those offerings, things that you enjoy yourself, making those offerings. And sweet music, offering of the musics, scented oil, scent, the offering of scent, again, whether it's a natural scent or whether it's, human made. Also the music, whether it's a natural music, whether it's created by humans, and all this music and scented, and parasols, you know, um, sparkling light. You can, as Lama Sopa Rinpoche advised, sometime when you fly, in the evenings, night, you see the whole city light up, beautiful. In the same way, you can visualize whole space filled with all this light, and light from all different kind of light, from the, of course, electricity, light from the jewels, a different form of light, all whatever, crystal, light from crystal, all kind of light. You can visualize the whole space filled with the light in that sublime incense, um, I offer to you, victorious ones, to all the Buddhas, so, um, like for example, in like seven water bowl, which represents seven offerings, is, washing water, drinking waters, then flowers, incense, light, scent, and the food, you know, and musics, you know, with the music, then it becomes it, So again, in terms of food, drink, you can also visualize all kind of food, drink, especially things that you enjoy, that you are attached to, food that you are attached to, drink you are attached to. You make offering. You imagine a whole space filled with each of those offerings, whole whole space filled with not just one offering, each of those offerings filled with the whole space, and making offerings without any sense of hesitation, um, without any clinging, you know, um, with a great faith and respect to the Buddhas and the host of Bodhisattva, and then making them those offerings. Again, we have to remember all this practice is to train our mind, and is for ourselves. From Buddha's side, there's no difference whether you prostrate or whether you kick them. Their love, compassion doesn't. It's not like if you prostrate them, they are nice to you, and if you kick them, then you are not nice to you. That is, we unenlightened ordinary beings, that will be our response, but not those enlightened beings. It's not that if we make offering, then they are very happy and they bless us, and if we don't make offering, they are upset and or not happy, and they don't. From their side, there is, as it is mentioned, for the Buddhas, someone, you know, praising him or someone criticizing and trying to hurt him, his compassion, love is equal, no difference. Whether you believe in him or not believe in him, his love is equal. His compassion is equal. Whether you praise him or you criticize him, equal. Whether you offer or whether you don't offer, equal. But then if it's no difference to him, why do we do that? Why we do practice? It's to train our mind. It's to train our mind. Training our mind to share, to give, to let go, you know? Mm. And that is why it is nice to visualize, to offering especially things that you are attached to, you know, things that you are attached to in terms of food or drink and whatever different things that you are attached to. Especially we try to think of those objects and really training to let it go. Training to let it go. And that is, we try to make offering from the depth of our heart without clinging hesitation. And that is, how we do, you know. And also those offerings are different offering to the five senses, the yeah, frequent sense for the nose, food for the taste, the tongues, music for the ears, senses, the flowers, beautiful flowers for the um, eye senses, and then fine dress or garment or cloth is for the body, And so again, fine dress, fragrant perfumes, fine dress. There is a descriptions of celestial garment in Buddhist scripture. They describe, and the way it is described of those celestial garment, maybe in the future it might become a reality. Is that is it described that when you wear those garment or those dress or robe, whatever, in summer is cooling, in winter is warm, and when you stretch out, it can be as big as the whole space. When you try to make it small, then it feel in this small, become very small, and it's similar like what they describe the pure pashmina, a small hole, a ring, they put it inside, and they say if it goes inside so small in that, they say that is how you check the quality of that. I think one way of checking it, so even when you stretch out, it can be big. You can like put on shawl, but when you make it, it can be very small, tiny. So so that is what they call celestial. That is how describe the celestial garment. And so like this offering that not only just a dress or garment, but actually something very special garment like that. And in terms of fragrance perfume, then in terms of in the powder and in the liquid and so forth. Here in the powder, like sandalwood powder, heap high as mountain, huge. All wondrous offering in a spectral array I offer to you, victorious ones. So that is what is known as mundane offerings. And then next verse is kind of peerless or supreme offerings. With the transcendental offerings, peerless and vast, with a profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with the strength of conviction in both sides of way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. And then like in Guru Lama Chopa Guru Yoga, this kind of peerless vast offerings is describe your own inner realizations, your own virtues manifesting in those different form of offerings and making that as offerings. So then it's not just external offering, but it's your internal spiritual realization, your virtues manifesting in different form, and then offer. And also it's also like Samanabhadra offerings. Samanabhadra offerings is like from one jewel it manifests 2 joule. From 2 joule it manifests 4. From 4, 8, 16. Multiply, and fill the whole space. That is the Samanbhadra's offerings. So again, we imagine, visualize, even though we might be offering just one incense, one light, but in your mind, you imagine, visualize from one light, one incense, it multiply, and fill the whole space like Samanbhadra's offering, and making that kind of limitless, infinite offering of each of them. Mm. And also is helpful to visualize, imagines, especially, of course, this more kind of sutra, but especially in Tantra practice, then you imagine all different offering that we offer. In essence, they are transcendental wisdom, but manifesting in those different form of the offering and making that offering. And the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the object of our offerings, they accept delightfully, and they experience those offerings. And by experiencing, enjoying those offerings, then it generates even more transcendental wisdom, the the blissful wisdom relies on emptiness. That is transcendental wisdom. It even increase and improve that. So doing that kind of imagination, visualizing is another way of training your mind, and is like a powerful way to do that. If you can, and then those offerings, the Buddha is delighted, or the object of offering, they are delighted, they accept it. They are not. They are delighted because we are practicing, not because we offer to them, but because you are training your mind, you are training to let it go, you are training to give up clinging, grasping attachments. So they are very pleased because that is what they want to see on your path, and also, yeah, they don't need, as I mentioned before, they don't need the offerings, but they accept delightfully for give us opportunity to create the merit. It's not that they need the offerings, they are not dependent on offerings. They don't require those offerings. They don't need that, but they delightfully accept it to give us the opportunity to create merit, to give us opportunity to practice the Dharma of letting go, and of clinging and grasping and attachments. Yeah. So that is the offerings, And of course, you can do more extensive offerings if you can, offerings such as 8 auspicious sign, 8 auspicious substances, the 8 precious things, all different offering that you can think of. And as mentioned, especially we try to imagine, visualize giving everything that we're very attached to. Whatever those objects, you can think of different objects we are very attached to. And so we visualize, imagine giving them, offering them, letting go of them, you know. So that. Mm. So next one is the confessions. Third one, purifications. Every harmful actions I've done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by the attachments, anger, and confusions, all this I openly lay bare before you. So here, is saying we try to recollect, whatever unwholesome actions that we might have engaged in this life, that are harmful to others, harmful to ourselves, which we have either created with body, speech, mind, all of them, in terms of the actions. Sometimes we harm others and oneself with our unhealthy, unwholesome actions, sometimes with our speech, sometimes with our thoughts, sometimes with all of them, and we act in such harmful, unwholesome actions to our three-door body, speech, mind, is motivated by either one of those afflictive emotions. Sometimes it's motivated by attachment. Sometimes it's motivated by anger. Sometimes it's motivated by ignorance. Sometimes it's motivated by all of them, So due to one of those motivations, then we engage in such harmful action through body, speech, and mind, and in that way it harms others and oneself. So recognizing that is something not healthy, is not something wholesome. Recognizing that is something hurtful, harmful to others and oneself. Acknowledging that. Bare lay here means that we don't hide. We just, I'm sorry that I did that in front in front of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, them as the witness, and so in that way we acknowledge, we understand and acknowledge mistake as a mistake, acknowledge unwholesome as an unwholesome, acknowledge that something that's harmful actions are harmful actions, and so that is what, and then we try to generate strong resolutions not to engage in some same unwholesome actions again in the futures. At least we will try all our best not to make the same, not to engage same actions. Trying to develop strong determinations, and then and then engage in whatever virtues as a way of purifying it. And so that is the conversions here. Mm. And then next is rejoicing. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all positive potential of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and in 10 directions. Of solitary realizer, hearer, still training, and those beyond and ordinary beings. So, this is rejoicing in the virtues of 5 beings. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Buddhas, all the virtues and positive qualities of Buddhas, all the virtues and positive qualities of all the Bodhisattvas on the path and bhumis, rejoicing in all the virtues of solitary realizers. Solitary realizers are those who are on path to arhat, individual liberations, and within that there are 2 kind of, those who follow hearer path and the solitary realizers. And then hearers are the one, in terms of the goal is same individual liberation, but the path is slightly different. And then the hearer, those who are on the hearer path, or those who have achieved arhat, and then ordinary beings, who are not into the path of any of those. So rejoicing in all of them, all the virtues of all beings, and rejoicing your own virtues, rejoicing your own virtues as well. And it is mentioned, Lama Tsongkhapa mentions, he said, the Buddha explained the rejoicing is the easiest way to accumulate great amount of merit without so much hardship. Someone might be working very hard, in practice, and you might be just sleeping on the beach or your bed and rejoicing them. You might be able to create more merit than them. So anyway, is rejoicing as a way to create, I don't know, do we have time? There's a stories, during the Buddha's time, there was a king who invited all Buddhas and the monks for meals, offer a meal. And after the meals, Buddha will dedicate those merit. And normally he will do some teachings after the meals and like that. And so he asked the king who invited and offered the meals, to whom and for what purpose should I dedicate? And the king was a little bit kind of embarrassed to ask for himself for the dedications, So he didn't say directly, he indirectly he thought, dedicate for a person who created most merit for offering it. So he thought, because he is offering, he will be the one who is who is created all the merit, and so dedicate for him, without saying for him. And then when Buddha started dedicating, Buddha dedicated for a lady and kind of homeless, beggar. There was one beggar lady dedicated for her, and king was surprised and shocked, and you know, and then it happens. The Buddha explained, because while king was offering, he was sense of a little bit kind of arrogant. There is some kind of arrogant, of being able to do it, and offer is some kind of arrogant or kind of pride, delusional pride. Whereas this lady was totally rejoicing for the king, how wonderful the king's able to invite and make offering to the Buddhas and all his followers. Such a wonderful, what a wonderful, may I be able to be offered and invite and offered is in the future. So she was totally rejoicing from very her bottom of her heart. And Buddha was able to read that, see that, and so she created more merit than him, and so that is why Buddha dedicated for her, and because he asked to dedicate for whoever created the most merit, and so there is story related. Yeah, that is that. So anyway, that is what Lama Tsongkhapa said. Of course, there are many. Okay, maybe. Mm. Is in many of the scripture they explain, if you are rejoiced from someone's virtues, if the person from whose virtue you are rejoicing is much more higher, spiritually higher realizations, then by rejoicing you get almost a half of that same merit. If the person whom you are rejoicing is kind of equal on your spiritual level, you create almost equal level of merit by rejoicing that person's virtues. If the other person for whom you are rejoicing is less on spiritual progress, less, then you create even more merit in that person's. So again, it is, and that is how it is explained. And you rejoice in your own virtues, so that your virtues kind of multiply, increase, And I think rejoicing in your virtues also very. I personally feel this is something, especially the Western people have to do more. As I mentioned before, maybe not necessarily just Western, but the modern world, where for whatever reasons people seems to be kind of have more low self-esteem, self-loathing, self-hatred, and having negative image of oneself. I'm not good enough. I'm not bad. I'm not good enough. All of that. And so I think rejoicing to all your virtues will help your mind to be more aware of not only the mistake and negative thought we have, negative things we do and mistake we do, which is quite fresh in our mind a lot of time. But the positive things that we do and positive thoughts we have, normally they don't retain strongly in our mind. We forget them very easily. And so then when you think of yourself, you don't recollect those good side, positive side. And then that is how you have negative image of yourself and negative feeling towards yourself. So if you rejoice every virtues, every positive thought, good thought, positive thought, virtues you have, then you are able to retain those memory. And by being able to retain those memory, then your mind becomes more balanced, and then you don't have such a negative feeling image of yourself. So it can be helpful to kind of counter that, So I think it will be good to really put effort to remember those virtues, those good things, positive things, and and rejoice in that. You know. Yeah. And then next one is, yeah, to turn the wheel of Dharma. You who are the bright light of the world in 10 directions, the Buddhas, who have attained Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening, all you are who are my guides, um, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma, and show us the path and teach us to guide us, you know. And again, when you do that request, also it is helpful or powerful if you imagine making offerings of, thousands spoken or Dharma wheel chakra, making offerings to the Guru or the Buddhas, and then them accepting that offering and your request to turn the wheel of Dharma. And again, it symbolizes also the traditions. When the Buddha was first, after his enlightenment, he did teach for 49 days, but he was requested to teach. And when he was requested to teach, they offer him that kind of thousand spoken kind of Dharma chakras, Dharma wheel. And so again, it kind of also symbolized that as well. So when we do when you make that request, that you can imagine offering that Dharma chakra, and then also them delightfully accepting your request to turn the wheel of Dharma. Mm. And next, with the palm together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana, who might have been thinking maybe passing away, please stay with us for eons, numberless as atom, as world, for the happiness and well-being of all the wanderers in samsara. So, maybe whether it's the Guru, the Buddhas, when they think maybe they are not so beneficial and helpful to be here because, and then again, and maybe they are ready to pass somewhere or some other places or some places, then again we make request, please stay here until each and every sentient being is liberated. We need you here. We want you here. We need you here, by guiding us, by teaching us the path, and so therefore live as long as it's needed, as long as sentient beings are needed. So making that request. And also in making those requests, also normally on the throne there is some kind of double dorje, that symbolize kind of indestructible. And so again, you visualize making that double dorjes offerings of the throne, and then again they accept your offering. They accept your request to stay as long as some samsara remain. Again, if you imagine, visualize, also the practice can be more powerful. So, and then last one is the dedication 7. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, through the earlier 7 branches, like paying homage, the prostrations, offering, acknowledging my fault, confessions, rejoicing, and requesting the Buddhas to stay and teach. Now I dedicate all of these for full enlightenment. So dedicating to achieve fully enlightenment in order to liberate each and every sentient beings. So again, always dedicating. So when we dedicate to achieve enlightenment in order to liberate all sentient beings, then of course we are also dedicating for well-being of all sentient beings as well. And then at the end, there is 2 verses that you see, in many of the dedications. Here is page number 255. And I think this translation might be slightly different translation from normally the verses we see in the dedication, many of the dedications, which are taken from here, is the 1, 2, 3, fourth one, where it says, "Likewise, may I dedicate just as the skillful Samanbhadra with the pure body, speech, and mind, and pure action, pure Buddha feel. I shall give rise to the inspiration of Manjushri for this both the practice of all embracing good, to perfect those practice without discouragement or pause in the all future eons." I think normally I think the translation is slightly different that you see. So basically, it is saying, may all our, in short, may all our dedication and prayer, if we summarize in short, may all our prayer and dedication be same as the incredible prayer and dedication that are made by Samanbhadra and other bodhisattvas. Since we don't know how to dedicate properly, pray totally, and those bodhisattvas know how to do it. So we say, however they do, may ours be just like them. And His Holiness shared a story, of in Tibet, Lhasa, there is a Cho temple, one of the most holy in Tibet, and one man went and did some offerings, and he didn't know how to do prayer or dedication properly, and just looking, and then there was one elderly lady who was doing extensive dedications. She know very well, and she was doing very extensive reciting and doing extensive dedications. And he looked at her, and then may my dedication be just like her dedications. you know, it's so similar here, And then, because there are 2 verses, and then the other verses is, may we be able to follow the perfect example set by the Samanbhadra, Manjushri, and all the 8 Bodhisattvas and so forth, So we be able to, again, dedicating that we be able to follow the perfect example set by those bodhisattvas in our engaging our practice, our spiritual practice. Okay? So sometimes they say those 2 verses kind of summarize the whole king of the prayer in a way, because before that it goes through different inspirations, prayer, dedication by the different level of bodhisattvas, high level, and then in the end, may our dedication same like all the different aspiration, dedication made by all these great bodhisattvas. So yeah, I think that is, and since I've been requested and I've accepted to do the oral transmission of the King of the Prayer today. Maybe 35 Buddha I can do tomorrow, maybe, because it's related purifications. And again, King of Prayer is very, very powerful prayers that come from the Buddha himself, from the sutras. And it's good when someone pass away to do that. You can do every day, but also especially when it is another beings or animals, and when they pass away, you want to do something for them. What kind of prayer that you feel like, what prayer I should do, or to then King of Prayer is one of the most powerful prayer to do that, powerful dedication to do that. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. And I know we didn't have a time for question and answer today, but please, you can bring tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and um, if there's answer, I will answer. If I don't have answer, I don't have answer. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Oh, good night, everyone on online. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Geshe-la. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.